So now we want to deal with the action part of a sentence, which is going to be the verb. So verbs show action, state of being, or occurrence. We think of a state of being as something like is, am, are, and then occurrence, something like began. So let's look at an example here. We have the soccer player kick the ball. So we see the soccer player, that's going to be our noun phrase. That's going to be our subject. The ball is also a noun. So if we eliminate those, we can see that kicked is the verb and kicked is an action. So we are getting that action verb. And we take this one. Anyone who donated to the club is eligible to play. So is our verb because we're looking at anyone who donated to the club is kind of our noun. It's our subject. So is the verb, but in this case is a state of being, or sometimes called a linking verb. Okay, let's move to the next one. Minnesota State Festival began earlier today. So we can see this is an example of an occurrence. Began, begins, these are occurrences. These are when something took place. And so those are the third types of verbs that we have. One thing to note is that if you have a verb and add an ing ending to it, you need a helper verb in order for that to make sense within the sentence. For example, if we add an ing to kick and get kicking, I can't say I kicking the ball or he kicking the ball. We need to add that helper verb to complete that verb phrase. So it'd be I am kicking the ball or he is kicking the ball. So now the verb is am kicking or is kicking. We need both of those to work together when we have that ing ending. Otherwise, the ing ending verb actually becomes a noun. This is called a gerund. This is where we take a verb, we add ing, and now it's a noun. For example, kicking is fun. So in this case, kicking is the noun, is the verb, fun we will see is the adjective. Okay, so just remember on those ing verbs, you need to add a helping verb. So adjectives describe or limit nouns and pronouns. Okay, so we want to make that clarification. We're going to get to adverbs, which define verbs, but adjectives define nouns. So we look at the following sentence. The bright sun didn't fit in with the freezing temperatures. Here we have two adjectives. So it's important to note the noun that it's describing. The first one, the noun is sun. The second one is temperatures. So the words in red are defining those nouns. So bright describes the sun and freezing describes the temperatures. Okay, let's go to the next one. My dad never loses his keys. In this case, my, which is a pronoun, works as an adjective. It's defining dad. Okay, so it's not just any dad. This is defining that it's my dad. And then we have never loses his keys. So his is defining which keys. Okay, so if we said my dad never loses keys, we don't know whose keys, or it could be anyone's keys. But here we see through that adjective that it is only his keys that we're talking about. So in this case, an adjective can limit that noun to be a specific noun, a specific thing that we're talking about. So here we can see my limits which dad is being discussed and him or his limits which keys.